um, where you are attending the class from, and what you hope to gain in this training class. So I would like to start with Olanike Odunfa. So I would like you to unmute and let me know or tell us about yourself and what you hope to achieve or what you hope to attain by learning the web design course. All right. Okay, I've done that. Excellent. You can try again.
Good morning.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Veronica.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning. Currently,
I can hear you.
I'm currently in Ibadan. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay. So, my name is Veronica. I'm currently in Ibadan, and hope, I hope to achieve a lot. I hope to
Okay.
achieve a lot because I started a career in tech. So that is why I registered for the course.
Okay, so you started the career in the tech business, and then you want to have some good understanding of websites.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. Next is Otibe Abasi Jacob.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, instructor, and
Morning.
my fellow colleagues in the house. My name is Uteba Basi Jacob. I'm here all the way from Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. Yeah, my core aim of attending this class is to get up to an advanced level in ICT business in terms of reaching out to my clients and building a good and using sophisticated tools to build a website for them. Thank you very much.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Next is Victory Uboka. Next is Victory. Yeah, Victory Uboka. Victory Uboka.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
instructor. I'm Victor Boka. I'm currently in Lagos State.
Okay.
And the reason why I've chosen this course is to broaden my knowledge in tech and in the ICT field, so that when I want to go for my master's, I have an advanced knowledge in the ICT field. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Beautiful. All right. So now we have a cross section of everyone, and I believe as others join us. Okay, I think we have uh, Tajuddin Mohammed. Tajuddin Mohammed, you can tell us
Yes, sir.
about yourself and why you're learning the course.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Muhammad Tajuddin. a student of Ahmad Bello University from Faculty of Engineering, Department of Computer Engineering, 400 level student. So I'm glad to be here with you guys today. So the reason why I'm learning this course, I once did a deep engineering where I learned, we took a course on web development. So it was just an introduction. So I would like to go further and make it my career path. That's why I'm here.
Okay, beautiful. That's a very nice and sharp introduction. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Who else do we have? Abigail. We have Abigail Monday Nkata.
Good morning, everyone.
You can unmute yourself and good morning.
Okay, I'm stuck. Okay.
You can go ahead. Tell us why you're taking the class, what you hope to achieve. Are you still with us, Abigail?
Yeah, okay, my mic was muted. My
Okay,
name is
go ahead.
Abigail Condent. And I want to learn about the web design. So hopefully I will use it in the future.
Okay. To build websites, I suppose.
Yes, please. And
All right.
I'm in
That's
Lagos.
you're in Lagos.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for that introduction. As the others join, we'll tell them. Has everyone spoken? I guess so. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, now that we've sorted that out and have an idea of the cross section of everybody that is here, we can now proceed to looking at the course from we also took a second look at what are domains and domain name. We also talked about the concept of URL. What is a URL and what is it used for? Okay. We also talked about components of a website. And then we also were able to discuss types of websites, and how to build a website. So these were the things that we looked at in the last class. I'm going to share my screen so that we can all just appreciate it and be able to look at it together. Just a minute as I share my screen. So So, great. So here we are. This is what, as of today, this is what I believe you should be familiar with. If there is anything here that looks very strange, you can just let me know. So this were the things we talked about in the last class. Okay. Most important thing there was we took time to look at the definition in detail. We talked about domains and domain name. What is the URL and how does this part affect? And then components and images and methods, how to build websites, methodologies. One other thing we mentioned has to do with responsiveness and the optimization. So these are things I want you to put together somewhere. So I'm going to pass this to your group, what we have learned so far. Okay, so I'm going to be I'm going to be sending this to the group every time. So I'm going to save this and name it as day 1. Okay. Assess how you are learning and help you to know if there is any area that you need to refresh. Let me know. So this is day 1, and then we can title this document what we've learned so far. What we have learned so far. Now, this is a very important document, so it's going to help us to track what we are learning. Okay, so I'll be doing this one every class so that we can track our learning curve. So if there's anything here, what is a website, domains and domain name, URL, component website. Remember, here I made a unique distinction between elements, components or elements of the website. And I talked about how it can be used interchangeably. And then types of websites, which give us a proper understanding about the different types of websites available. And then how do you build a website? So how to build a website? We refer to different methodologies, and then we choose one that we're going to use. And we talked about responsiveness and then optimization. Websites. What does this mean in web design? Okay, and I showed you an example. So today we're going to be talking about web pages. Websites are the product of web pages, okay? Because from our definition, we said that a website is made up of web pages, and a web page is an HTML document. So I don't want you to get confused here. So basically, the idea is that a website is made up of web pages. So these web pages, okay, have the basic fundamentals of all the things that we talked about in the first class. A web page here in this class, we're going to be referring to a web page as what we call an HTML document. In static web design, one or more HTML documents are used to form a website. A website or web document site or web file site or web pages location. The reason why I put this one is to emphasize the keyword there. I'm trying to emphasize the keyword. Okay, let me put it in red. We can also see, let me put that one in blue to show I'm trying to emphasize something. So basically, your website, okay, comprises of web pages. So what is a web page? A web page, okay, is an HTML document. What is an HTML document? Okay, an HTML document is a document that is encoded using HTML. So I will refresh again what I just said. A website is made up of web pages. Okay, a web page is an HTML document. An HTML document is a document that is encoded using HTML. HTML, so I'm moving forward now. HTML is the standard language, the standard language for coding a web page or a web document. So let me give you a simple example. So here, if you were to have something like, sorry about all these things you're seeing. And I told you in the first class that when you see all those things, don't worry about it. It's just maybe overlapping work. Maybe I'm working and I forgot to close all these things. So basically, let's look at, and then when I'm teaching, one of the things I want to just excuse myself is that I'm not used to using this start menu and all this kind of things here. Okay, I'm not very used to that. I do them, I use them, okay, but when there are some quick tips I need to do, I usually use the command line like this. So you just have to forgive me in that area. Okay. I usually like to run my commands in the terminal environment. So don't really, it's not that I don't know how to use these ones. These ones are just easier and faster. They give me more control over the computer. That's why I use them. So it's also one of those things. So you have to forgive me every time I keep jumping into the black screen like that. So basically, we mentioned the concept of the word HTML, and we're like, what is it? Okay, what is it? That's what we're talking about now. What is HTML and why do we need HTML? So I'll start my class by saying, what is it? What is HTML? Why the need for HTML? So I'll start my conversation here. So basically, HTML is the language that is used to encode your web page documents. That's what HTML is. It is not a programming language. It is a formatting language. The reason why I did that was I said that, look at this WordPad, for example. So this WordPad, all right, let me just give you a quick example of what I mean by HTML is not a programming language, it's a formatting language. So basically, I'm going to do a rough exercise. I just want you to pay attention to it. Don't worry about the way I'm doing it. Just feel cool with it. I'm also learning how to use unmanned aircraft systems. So if you see all these things, don't worry about it. It's called drone technology. Okay, so let me just do this one called test. So let's look at this document called test. Okay, where is it to? All right, the fastest way is to just sort everything by item type. So all of them will arrange themselves according to their category. And I'm still looking for the one I created now called test. There it is, test. So let's put test here. Let's look at it carefully. I'm going to open test and I want you to tell me, okay, don't tell me, just let's observe test together. I'm also going to bring this this one. Let me look for another one like gaming, for example. Let's put these two documents here and let's look. One is a notepad and one is gaming. Maybe Okay, I don't have much Microsoft Word, so we'll just use this two as an example. I'm going to open this one now. I'm going to open it by force. So one of the ways to open it by force is to come over to this environment, this place, and then open the text file here. So this is a browser. Okay, this is what you call a browser. Okay, and the name of this browser is uh what's the name of this one again? Sorry, I'll get it. Just a minute. This browser is Brave. There's also Mozilla Firefox, and then there is also Opera, and there's Google Chrome and all that. So all those guys are called browsers, and browsers are the ones, browsers, okay, I think we should add one more thing to our list of items that we have learned. Okay, what are browsers? What are browsers? What are browsers? And then why the need for browsers. So just take this one as my pep talk. Remember what I told you about coding? You're going to code, but let's just all be on the same page when we are coding. One of my students was asking me a question some days ago, and the question shocked me because I really thought I had taken care of all the fundamentals for them. It then occurred to me that it appears that in the course of teaching, there are some things I usually assume that you know. It's not like I assume it, it's just that it happens. Uh, so that's why I always like you to ask questions, okay? So I'm taking my time to really talk about each of these things because I'm not assuming you know what they are, browsers. So that's why I'm doing this pep talk thing. Now, some of you know what they are, but some of you don't know what they are. And even those that know what they are really don't know what they are. They just know, okay, browser is this, but there's a little bit more than that to them. So basically, yeah. And I try very much to try just not too much, but a little bit to let you all know what is what. Okay, let's get back to this guy called the browser. So this is a browser, very nice application. What is a browser? A browser is a specifically designed application. It's a specific application designed to view, open, or interact with internet or web-based documentation. Now, you're not going to see those definitions anywhere. I can just show you, if you go on the internet now, you say, what is a browser? You're going to see what they tell you. What is a browser? So they're going to give you some definitions. So that's why I always put it in my own words so that you get what it is. So you're going to get all this definition, browser, a computer program with graphical user for displaying navigation between web pages. So you're going to get all these definitions. And they're cool. Okay, what's a browser in computer? Well, a web browser takes you anywhere on this. So you're going to get all these funny, interesting things that wouldn't really make sense. Most of them will actually confuse you more by the time you read them. Okay, so that's why I'm not going to be giving you that kind of definition. I'm going to give you a practical definition. Okay, so you just stay cool, all right? Stay cool. So what is a browser? So remember what I said. Remember the words. I don't just use my words. I use them technically with specification in mind. So I'm going to say it again, and I want you, when you watch this video over and over, I want you to memorize it because I define by purpose and with specification, okay? And that I'm giving you a practical definition. I'm not giving you a generalistic definition. I'm defining it to you from the perspective of technical specifics. What is a browser? A browser is a specifically designed application, okay, used, remember, specifically designed, okay, used to view internet or web-based documentation. Now, you're not going to see that anywhere on the internet, what I just told you. So I'm going to explain it from what the browser is. I'm explaining from what actually these browsers you deal with are. So it's a specific app that was built with a singular purpose. Its only work, the only work it has, is to be able to give you the ability to view and interact with internet or web-based documentation. I didn't say website. You remember that? I did not say website. I said web-based documentation. Now, why am I saying web documentation? What is a document? A document is a media, a type of media. Okay. Maybe we should remove documentation and replace it with web-based media. Yeah, web-based media. Maybe we should use it like that. Because when you deal with the browser, you need to know that it's not just showing you websites, it's doing more than that. It has much more abilities than all those things than just to view website. Okay, so this is me talking as a software engineer now. So it has a lot of abilities inside of it, more than what you would even expect. So that's why I use that word. The core purpose of browsers is to deal with whatever is on the internet, to view whatever is on the World Wide Web, to allow you, the user, to view anything that is coming from the internet or the World Wide Web to you. Secondly, it allows you to interact with those media or documentation or whatever it is the internet is bringing to you. So it's more than just doing www and you have gone. No, it's a whole lot more than that. Simplistically, yes, that's what it does. But I'm trying really not to be simple. I'm trying to give you a technical perspective of a browser. So Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, these are all browsers. So these are all applications that allow you to view and interact with web-based media or documentation. That is what browsers are. Why do we need browsers? Why do we need browsers? So let's look at it in a practical point of view, why we need browsers. So I'm going to save this document alongside the other ones. CWD, I don't know what we call the first one. CWD, day 02, right? Day 02. So, because I've listened to what most of you talked about, and I need to differentiate you from the regular user. So by the end of the course, at least, if you don't even really learn all the coding, at least you understand the technical definitions of stuff. You won't just be someone, you'll be someone who understands technical specifics. So that is one of my intention. Like I said, you're going to code. We code. There's no hiding from there. But there's also the concept of knowing what you are coding, knowing why you are coding, how you are coding, for the purpose for which you are coding. And this always borders on whether you even understand what you are dealing with. Okay. And then when you don't understand what you're dealing with, it will show in your coding that you actually even don't know what you're dealing with. That for most people. So I'm trying to cover this. I'm trying to make sure that there is no gap. So try to observe these two guys. I'm coming to two other people. There are two other concepts I'm going to spend time to talk about. Okay. Hopefully, hopefully. All right, so let me practice it for you. So you see this document, CWD02, right? That is very nice. Now I'm going to do what they call the aberrative behavior. So let me go into my where I saved it, and I'm going to open it for you, and I want you to observe with me what we are seeing. So here I named the document CWD something. Let me check where I put it. Save as, where did we put it? Oh, can you believe that? I put it in the general document area. Okay, that's not bad. Let's go there and look at this document. All right, so let's go to CWD. Where is it? CW. Be smarting. I can't see it here, and I saved it here. This is no way I said it's saved. CWD. Can you see? Okay, this is it. CW. Why is it hiding here? This is not supposed to be one of. See not okay. No problem. All right. Let's open this guy with Microsoft Word. Okay, this is the popular document you guys know, Microsoft Word. I'm opening that document with Microsoft Word. I want you to look at it. Okay, there's somewhere I'm going with all I'm saying. So this is Microsoft Word showing us that document. Let's go back to the same document. Let's view it with another application. I don't really like Opera like that, but I'm going to use it. Or should I use, let me use Brave. Okay, let me use Brave, the one that we're using for everything we're using, you know. Brave, somewhere here, Brave, Brave. Oh, it's giving me too many long story. Let me just use Opera like that. Opera is also a browser. We can afford to use it. The results will be the same anyway, but I want you to observe the difference between Opera and Microsoft Word so that we can understand what a browser is. So here we are in the Opera, and to be very, very sincere, I don't know what the Opera is doing. I said open something, it's showing me something else. Okay, let me try a different method to open it. I said they should open this person, they don't. Okay, let's try a different method. They have a mind of their own these days, this that we call browsers. Just enjoy the class. Okay, let's look at what Opera interprets this document as. Where is CW? CW, 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 CW. Okay, so this one is okay, let's do this. Let me do it in a different way. Paste. Okay, there it is. Thank you, Opera. I think I'll go use another browser. I'm trying to do it very simple. Just 1 minute. I'm almost there. I'm trying to copy the address, but it's not copying. So I'll use a different method. So let's pick this document and let's take it somewhere where I've been using. Actually, this is even a good place to do it. Okay, let's try this one. Can you imagine? I said open. Anyway, these are configuration issues, so we will just leave that one there. Let's try this one. Be smart enough. Is searching for this is really nice. Searching. I said go somewhere and it's going somewhere else. So this is a browser. Okay, let's open that document CWD02. So you can see what it's doing with it. You can see the way it's trying to open it, right? What it's trying to do here is to download it. Okay, let's try another document, PowerPoint. Trying to download that same document. Now you can see that the response between what it's doing here and what we want it to do are different. But that's just a little bit nifty. And also, whenever I try to open the document like this, you can see what it's trying to do. It's trying to download the document. Okay, so you would observe that the behavior of this browser as an app with respect to this document that you're seeing is different from how Microsoft Word will treat the same document. That's a very nice example. Why don't we try a second type of example? All right, so let's go back to the same CWD. I'm trying to explain the concept of browsers. So here is the CWD. I'm going to convert it to a different type of document, and I still want us to observe the same result. So while we're in the same place, let's try and do something like this. Don't worry about what I'm doing. You will learn that method very soon, but let's actually give it a different type of, let's create a different type of file. Okay, let me put an underscore here. It's still the same file name. I just all right, so I'll say yes. And let's go inside this place and try to see what we have. Do we have it here? Okay, so I will just look for it. All right, so here is the document I just created. I'm going to remove it from here and take it into the other folder. I want you to observe what it looks like. That's what I want you to do. I want you to observe what it looks like. So here is our new document. So they are both the same. They contain the same thing. Okay, let's open this one also. So this is the second document I created from, they both contain the same thing. It's the same, this is the HTML version of that document, and this is the Microsoft Word version of the same document. Why does the browser see two of them separately? Why does the browser relate with them separately? Okay, that's the first question. The second question is that why does the browser show the content like this? HTML, what is HTML? Why? You can see everything is on a straight line. Let me make it bold for you. Where's my control key? Make it bold so you can see it bigger. So you can see that Microsoft Word, it's only is showing me the same stuff that I typed. It's showing me the same way I typed it. But when I'm looking at that document in the browser, I'm converting it to an HTML and I'm looking at it, you can see that it is being looked at in a very different way. It's not being seen the way Microsoft Word is seeing it. The browser is not seeing it the way this is. So I'm going to just do one more illustration for you. So the first point there is that your browser will not see that document the same way other applications will see it. That's the first thing you need to know. The second thing is that the browser will not treat the content of a document the same way other documents will treat it. That's the second thing we need to pull from here. Okay. Now, the third thing we need to pull from here, I'm going to make a change now, and I want you to observe the results. So here, RTF, where is that HTML one that we made? This one is also RTF. So let me go check out the HTML version. I'm going to close this one, and then I'm going to open that document. So everything I'm doing is just to explain what is HTML to you. That's everything I'm doing. So, but it's taking a bit while, but don't worry. You'll get it. Like, you're really going to get it once I'm done. So this is the document that we put. This is the one, where is it? This is right here. Hot notes, PowerPoint. Anybody see the same text opportunity, HOT, notes. Oh, main. Sorry. So let me open this. Now, if I open it with WordPad, let me see. Even the computer is not allowing me to go that route. Okay, so I'm just going to do a general opening. I'll open it with this guy, this interesting app here, which I'll tell you more about later. So this is what is inside the document that you're seeing here. And what I want you to observe is, you can see the way it's being displayed here, but you can see the way it's being displayed here. They are not looking the same at all. This one is on separate lines. And even this app can see that everything is on separate lines. Microsoft Word can also see that everything is on separate lines. But this browser is refusing to see that there are lines. Everything is on separate line. It just took everything and put it on the same straight line. Everything is on the same straight line. The more you add, the more everything is on the same straight line. Why is it behaving like that? Okay, so I'm going to show you something very simple. I'm just going to do a very simple adjustment to the document, and I want you to observe. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put something here, one funny looking something like that. Don't worry about what it is. We will talk about it very soon. And then I'm going to put another something like this here. Okay. And then I'm going to just do this and put this one here. Okay. We're all still doing the same thing. I'm just adding some things to this one. I'm going to do this here too. Let's do this one here. And then let's just get this one out from here, bring it over here and leave it right there. Or we can put it on the next line, really doesn't matter. Then this one I put here, I'm going to put it in all these places like this, and like this again, and like this. Okay. And then this one, I'm going to put it here, paste, put it here, paste, put it here, paste, put it here, paste. I'm going to save, and then let's go back and look at this guy, this one. Okay, I want you to compare the two. Number one, the first thing is that the way the browsers interact with the the document that we created is different. Number two, the way they render the content is different. Number three, the way they treat the file is different. Then when we convert this file to a type of file with a particular type of extension, the way the browser sees it is still different. Unless when we now put some funny looking things inside it like this, when we put all these funny looking things inside it like this, the way we put it, then the browser will also change the way it's seeing the document. So what are these funny things that I put here? Well, first of all, what I have done to this content is called, in the language of HTML, it is called marking up. Marking up. That is what I have done here. I have encoded this text with markup code so that the browser can see it in the way like this. That's the first thing I want you to put in your mind. I have encoded this content with markup code so that the browser can see it like this. In a nutshell, I have encoded this content for the browser to interpret. Okay. This encoding, which I used, this encoding system that I used, okay, this codes which I used, okay, these codes are called HTML tags. And this process, this language of encoding, this methodology, this language that is used to encode content with markup language such that the browser can see it in a pre-formatted manner, that language is what we call HTML. It means hypertext markup language. It is used to format content in such a way that the web browsers can interpret them concisely. Okay, so if you didn't get what I said, I'm going to say it all again, don't worry. So what are browsers? What are browsers used for? Why are they needed? What is HTML? Why the need for HTML? Now that you are seeing this question again, after everything I've said, I believe some answers are popping up in your mind. The first time you saw it, you had no idea. But after everything I've said, something is popping up in your mind. Boom, boom. What's HTML? Boom, boom, boom. Before you didn't know anything about it, but now something is popping up. Okay, that is what I want to achieve. That popping up in your mind is that is my goal. So HTML is a language that is used to encode content by marking them up so that web applications like browsers can interpret them for display correctly or concisely. The reason why we need HTML is because the browsers can only render marked up content that has been encoded That is the only thing browsers can render. They cannot render like Microsoft Word like this. They can't do this. Okay, don't let me say they can't. With the exception of some of the guys like Google Chrome. Google Chrome has the ability to read, to display, not even to read. It can display this Microsoft Word document inside itself. It's not reading the text too. It's going to take the Microsoft Word document and display it like Microsoft Word would have done it. Some other guys can do that. I think Firefox too can do it. Let me try it. So those are the exceptions. So that's just the exception there. And there is a reason why those exceptions are there. Let me drag it in and see. Okay, so as usual, it's down it. But so you see, it's trying to download it. It's trying to say, this is a rich text document. What should Firefox do with this file? So that's to let you know that by default, it doesn't know what to do with the file. But the other guy, this other one, drag it in, and Firefox will interpret it immediately. So the concept is that, why do we need HTML? We need HTML in order to format documents such that web applications can display them concisely, can read, render, and render them concisely. Okay, that is why we need HTML. HTML is the language for encoding content through markup. The language for encoding content through markup, so that web applications can read and render them concisely. So without HTML, you cannot create a document in a way that is logical and concise. Okay? The browser will not see it properly. The browser will not render it properly. But if you encode the content, the browser will be able to display it meaningfully. What does it mean to render a document? Okay, to render a document means to display it concisely and effectively. That is what it means to render, to display the components concisely, so that you can look at it intellectually, and then it can make meaning to you. So we use hypertext markup language to encode our document. Similarly, HTML is the language for the website, for the World Wide Web. It was designed for content that are going to be displayed over the internet. That was what HTML was designed for. And the browser was specifically designed to read content that was transmitted over the internet. That is their destiny in life. Their purpose in this world is to be able to read, render, translate documents that are translated over the World Wide Web. Okay, so now you know what browsers are. I believe now you also know why we need browsers. Okay, now that being said, I'm not saying you can't use Microsoft Word to open an HTML file. You can do that, because today's Microsoft Word is more, remember the last class I said things are changing, applications are getting wiser and all that stuff I said. So today, some of them do what they call crisscross. Okay, they can crisscross into other areas and form a little bit of efficiency there. But it does not defeat the originality of their purpose. So browsers like Firefox, Mozilla, Google Chrome were designed for the sole purpose of interpreting media that came from the internet, from the World Wide Web. That is basically what they were designed for, nothing else. Browsers in every computer system, every computer, every device, any phone, every one of them, any electronic gadgets that has internet ability, every one of them comes with a default browser. That's to show you how important World Wide Web documentation is. It became a standard for any user device to come with a browser. Okay, and then you can also install browsers on your devices. So browser is the official application for viewing content on the World Wide Web. HTML is the official standard for encoding content for the World Wide Web. HTML means hypertext markup language, and it is used to encode through marking up the content for the web. And I believe with the little example I did, everybody understands what I just said. But in case after all the stuff I say you don't understand, feel free to ask any type of question you like. I mean about the course, so not about, about what I just said. Okay? Now let's go into the presentation. I believe the presentation should be easy for us to walk through now. All right, so we're going to start by coming over to our presentation and talking about the HTML documentation structure. What is how is it being used, and what are the benefits of it? So let's go through this presentation, and then let's understand one or two things from the beginning. So I'm going to rush through it because I've actually said most of it, okay, but let's just go through it. What is HTML? So I started by saying a website is made up of web pages. A web page is an HTML document or a file. In static web design, one or more HTML documents come together to form a website. Website we can also call it web document site or web file site or web page location, but generally call it website. The HTML file or document can be said to be the basic page or file that make up the web page. The HTML page is encoded using the HTML language syntax. Remember what I said? HTML is used to encode by markup. Encode by markup. So if there's anything you remember that. Let me put that in our what we have learned today, so that when I send it to you and you are refreshing your mind on what we did today, you will be able to remember it. So that definition is going to be under the second part. That is going to be here. Is going to be HTML is used to encode. Is used to encode by markup. Okay. Web site. Let's not say website. Let's just say web document. That means web document or web media. To make it easier for everybody, let's just say web pages, web document or web media. Let's just say web pages or document to make it more easier for us to fine tune. So HTML, okay? So this is our definition, and then I believe it's used to encode by markup, okay? And then I'm going to put a second one here that says HTML is a markup language, not a programming language. Not a programming language. It's a markup language. So you can see from the example I showed you what it means to mark something up. To mark up means to use HTML tags, okay, to encode media. That's what markup means. To mark up is a markup. So to mark up a document means to encode the document, to encode the document using HTML tags or elements. So I believe by the time you're reading all this, it's going to make sense. So all these are going to be passed into your group. So this one is a sub dev, so I'll put it in blue. All right, so I believe we have something you can read after the class. Okay, let's continue. Uh-oh, what is going on here? Oh, sorry. I've gone to carry myself to do some kind of James Bond. Let's do RTF. Oh, oh, and I paste it in documents. Okay. So that's basically what we're talking about. So HTML stands for the word hypertext markup language. It allows the user to create and structure sections, paragraphs, headings, links, and block codes for web pages and applications. And just to make sure we're all on the same page, I think it would be nice to add this one. Let's just even add all this to the notes. So I want to send you 2 notes. I just add this here. Let me just duplicate the slide and then just put this one here. And that way you get to read it. A bit simple, right? So structure sections, paragraphs, headings, links, block codes, and let me even put and other web site components. Okay, for web pages and applications. So I believe the word website component should not be new to you because we talked about it in the last class. Furthermore, HTML is not a programming language, meaning it does not have the ability to create dynamic functionality. Instead, it makes it possible to organize and format documents similarly to Microsoft Word. Okay? HTML is a type of language that structures content. In other words, it labels different elements such as images and text in order to tell your browser how to display the content and in what order to display it. HTML documents are files that end with HTML or HTML extension. We're going to talk more about files and files extension somewhere at the end of this note. You can view using any web browser. It should be then. You can view it. You can view the documents using any web browser such as Google Chrome and Safari, Mozilla Firefox, Brave, Opera, whatever you have it. The browser reads the HTML file and renders its content so that the internet users can view it. Usually, the average website includes several different HTML pages. For example, home page, about us page, contact page, all of them will all have separate HTML documents. And that is similar to what we call this concept. Hello, I need you guys to listen to what I want to say at this point. Okay, I'm going to emphasize it. Okay, I'm going to put something here so that I can differentiate, because from what you guys talked about, I believe some of you are going to advance from this class. So I'm going to put this here for you in web design. All right, in web design. Okay. So I'm going to put this in color blue so that you can know that what I'm talking about here is only specific to web design only. In web design, okay? In fact, let me go the extra mile. In web design or front end. Actually, not even in front end. Not in all the front end. In web design. The reason why I'm putting this definition here is because remember the different ways of building websites. Okay, some of them uses CMS. Some of them use other ways. But in web design, such as this particular course, this definition will stand. But where you're using a framework like React.js, this definition may not be adaptable. So that is why in web design, when building with HTML, when building with HTML or static, okay, I think with HTML, okay, so let's just leave it here. I'm building with HTML. So So this should clarify the matter. So because as you move ahead, you realize that there are other frameworks for building websites. Some of them are advanced. They're called web design frameworks like React.js, Vue.js. They're not really advanced. It's the same thing that we know. It's just that the way they operate is different. The technology they use is different. So it will not be right to say that home pages, about pages, contact pages will all have separate HTML component documents. That will not be correct when you are talking about such frameworks like that. Similarly, when you're dealing with server-side programming languages, some of them have the ability to use only one page to do everything they want to do. So that is one of the advantage of what they call backend programming technology. You can program your application to just use one single page to do everything that you want it to do. You don't need multiple pages. So this definition is restricted to the context in which we're discussing when building static platforms with HTML. Okay, that is in this context. When we get into the JavaScript class, you will realize that it's actually possible to build an entire website on one page only. When we're doing JavaScript, I will show you how that is being done. I'm not going to how would I put it now? I won't spend too much time there because it's actually the easiest thing to do. So, but I will show you that it's actually possible to have only one page and all your website will be there. And the person who comes there will not know that everything's on the same page. So that's very possible. So I don't want you to have that limitation in your scope. So because you never know where you might find yourself discussing this topic. So I wouldn't want you to limit yourself to saying that, well, my lecturer said that it's multiple pages. No, it is possible to have components. So in the case of the other cases I'm talking about, we're going to be referring to the web components, not pages, components. Okay, we're going to be referring to dynamic components. So we're going to say that the app has one page, but multiple components. That's what we're going to be saying in those other areas. But in this area, you can have your website with multiple web pages. It's fine and it's okay, and that's how it started. But it's not compulsory. You can also have one web page with multiple components. So you have the home component, about component, contact component, all those are components. And you just bring them into reality when you need them. So you can do that. And with extensive JavaScript, you can also do that. You can achieve that with JavaScript. You can achieve that with other frameworks that are based on JavaScript. In fact, that is the technology and the fundamental basis of languages like Vue.js, AngularJS, React.js. They capitalize on that concept a lot. And you understand it when we get to JavaScript class, why that is actually very possible. It's actually an efficient way of building, okay? But let's just take it slow. So I have to pause and say that because some of you are going ahead, you're going further, and I wouldn't want you to go further with the mindset of what I said here. I want you to go with the mindset that this is possible. A website can have multiple pages. A website can have one page with multiple components. So that is the mentality I want you to have, okay? So I don't know if I should put that here, but I believe you should have that in your mind. So now that I've said that, let's continue. So each HTML page consists of a set of tags. Now I'm talking about each of the pages here. But in the case of the previous conversation I said, where a website can either have multiple pages, a website can also have one page and multiple components, okay? So you can differentiate the two, right? So basically, and that component technique, I'm going to actually emphasize on it because that is actually the way things are being done now. The reason why many people don't want this multi-page, of course, multi-page is still okay, it's fine. But as you move further, you will realize why people don't want it. In fact, when you move ahead in this your career path, you will realize why many programmers and many developers will actually go for single page multi-components platforms than multi-page multi-component platforms. So you learn that ahead as you move ahead. Okay, but have it in your mind that it's possible. So don't go and say your website must have multiple pages. No, it's not compulsory. You can build in that way, but it's not a compulsory something. So in the context of what I'm saying, let's move to the next page. So when you say each page can contain a set of tags called elements, which you can refer to as a building block of the web pages. Okay, so let's go back to that simple example that I did. So this tags, okay, and then many tags form elements and elements from the web page. So let's come here and talk about HTML pages, tags, and elements. So that's another important thing. Sorry about the way I'm typing. This my keypad is very amazing. HTML page, not be smart thing. See the way I type. Interesting pages. Okay, so I gotta be looking at it because it's not the one on my keyboard on my system. Okay, so that's another thing we're talking about now. So I'm documenting it as we're going. So they create a hierarchy. So what do we mean by hierarchy? So think of the HTML page as a Microsoft Word document. When you're reading a Microsoft Word document, you usually read it from the top and you read it downwards. So far from what I know as of today, I'm not aware that people read from down up. I'm aware some people read from left, right, and right to left. That one is okay. But what I'm saying is that the traversal, how you traverse the document is from the top to the bottom. Okay, so far so good. As of today, in May 2022, that is the way that I know that people read stuff. You know, because I'm so aware of so many changes going on in the world and technology and all that. I'm trying to make sure that when I'm talking, I talk with respect to the fact that things can change tomorrow. So things can change tomorrow. So people can start reading from down up tomorrow. So this video is going to be beyond tomorrow. So you say, oh, that guy said it in that video. So people can read from down up. All right. So basically, as of today, when you read a document, you read from the top down. Okay. As of today. So the same way with what we call the hierarchy. When your browser is loading your HTML document, it will traverse the document from the top down. And then it's going to look at, there's something called the hierarchy of structures. What we mean by the hierarchy of structures is the way all the components join together from the top to the bottom. So we're going to look at it more in detail. But in a nutshell, some elements will be read first before some other elements will be read when the browser is loading your HTML document or media. So some things will be read first before some things will be read. So that's it. Just like when you use your phone to take a picture. Today, most of you don't know that when you do that, that your phone that you used to take your picture, that your picture that you took, it's not just a picture. Before, in those days, it used to be just a picture. But like I said, things have changed. So it's not just a picture. There are so many things in that picture that even if you knew, you will never take picture again. I can bet you, I can categorically bet you that if you know what is in those pictures you are taking, you will never take picture again. Like you will not go and stand for any selfie again. Trust me, you don't want to know. So that's as of today. That's as of today. In those days, about 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. But as at now, today, that is what's happening. So there's so much in that picture that most of you just take picture. Of course, this course doesn't deal with that, but I'm saying it because of what I'm referring to. They create a hierarchy a hierarchy that structures the components. So your browser will take some information first before some information. Okay, and that's just technology. It's just technology. There's no big deal about it. It's just that, you know, it's technology. You know what I mean? Technology. All right, let's move on. So next, we talked about what HTML is. So the reason why I said most of you will not want to take a lot of pictures again is because by the time you understand what your cameras are doing, you feel a bit uncomfortable, because not a lot of people like their privacy being, looked at from that point of view, but it happens. It happens, And as long as you're going to use technology, yeah, you will be exposed to using stuff like that. Unless maybe you don't want to be exposed to technology. So it's just technology and the way it works. And that's why I talked about the browsers and the way they behave. You see, I'm so sensitive to it because I know the way they should behave, and when they behave out of place, I'm like, what's going on? And that's just because I deal with all this a lot. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't behave that way. I'm just like, when did this one start? And that's just the concept. So yeah, some of them border on the fact of security and safety, but then some of them are just plain, who sent you? Like, I'm like, who sent you, man? I didn't ask for that. It's just like that. So basically, let's get on to the next one. So here, I'm explaining about the HTML page, okay? And in this next concept, we're going to be looking at the document structure. So we've talked about web pages. We've talked about HTML and what it is. We've talked about the relationship between HTML and the web pages. And we also looked at browsers and how browsers interpret web pages. Why the need for browsers? Why the need for the HTML? In the last line, we talked about the hierarchy that structures the content into sections, paragraphs, headings, and other content blocks. We talked about that. So moving forward, we now want to look at that hierarchy. And that hierarchy is going to be looked at in the HTML document structure. Let me put it an hierarchy. Let me put it here and HIE hierarchy. All right, so that will put it in more perspective. So what I'm about to show you, don't worry, may look a bit surprising, but it is what it is. This is the basic HTML structure of a web page. Now, it's not compulsory that your website should always have this. Because, for example, I just created a simple web file without all those things. But remember the angle from which I started my discussion. I once told you that some things are expected in a web page, but it's not compulsory that you should have them. Most of these things that we put in our web pages are because of the status quo, expectations, what is expected. And it's not just your viewers that are having those expectations. Other devices and other structures that will handle that document expect those things to be there. So while it is not compulsory for them to be there, okay, you need to put them there because it is expected that they should be there. You understand? So basically, everybody is expected to eat in the morning or eat at night, or at least eat is expected, but you can decide not to if you can decide not. But it is expected, okay? So when a doctor says take medication, he expects you to eat before you take it. Do you understand what I mean? So it's an expectation. Some things are expected. They are not compulsory. So what I'm showing you is the general standard, what is expected. It does not mean your web pages will not function without this structure. It will, but it will function with a level of limited capabilities because most of the applications like the browsers, for example, will expect this to be there. And when they do not find it there, they will make some kind of unnecessary, irresponsible complaints. So I'm not saying they are irresponsible. I'm just saying that, because I was working on an app some time ago and this Brave just started giving me errors that were not existing. I was the one who wrote the code, but the Brave was just, the Brave browser just kept complaining about some things. And I'm like, what is your problem, Mr. Brave? Just like, oh, this is not there. Oh, this must be there. Oh, that is not there. There's a way they flag you those errors. So if you really don't know what you're doing, you will really think they were errors. It's just that it's expected that this thing should be there. So when they didn't see them, it was just flagging errors. those errors can be problematic sometimes when you're dealing with certain kind of applications. They can really be problematic and they can really give you headaches. Okay, so that is one of the things with technology as it's changing. You know, initially there were certain things we could do in HTML code, but now you won't do it. The app will not even allow you. Your browser, that's your own browser, the one that you install yourself, it will not allow you. So I'm saying all that so I can emphasize the fact that while these things are not compulsory, they are expected. And I'm not even telling you this from the point of what is being taught. I'm actually telling you from a practical point of view, because I've had to deal with all this in so many different environments. So that's just it. So ideally, it is expected that this should be there. There are certain errors your applications will have if these things are not there. There are certain errors they will not have if you have all these things there. So you can see, and you know, that's just out of off the books. You know, that's off the books. So this is what your basic HTML document will look like. This thing you're looking at, this set of lines of statements that you're looking at, are what we refer to as what we call HTML tags. All these ones, and we'll talk more about it later on. I just wanted you to look at the basic structure. So this is an encoded document, and this document is encoded with HTML tags. Okay, we used HTML to mark up this document using HTML tags. We didn't mark up any content yet. We just laid out the structure of our document with HTML, and this is a simple markup. All right, so here I said, notice the anchors, these anchors. They are used to enclose keywords, okay? Keywords in general programming refer to certain words that are consistent with a particular programming language or scripting language in programming, okay? For example, when you are writing programs, there are certain words that you use there. Those words are what we call keywords, and they are synonymous to that programming language, and there are many programming languages. HTML is not a programming language, but the concept of keywords also apply because the keywords are used with these anchors to generate what we call tags, okay? In fact, anytime you define something between these anchors, the browser will call it a tag. Anytime you do that, okay? But there are standard tags, okay? And these standard tags are what we're referring to here, okay? That's what we're referring to here. So there are standard tags that use standard keywords. Just think of keywords as special words that you can use in a programming language. In the context of HTML, keywords refer to specific letters or specific names that you can only use in these anchors to achieve a particular purpose. Wow, very smart. I hope you all get that. So these are used to enclose the keywords. Together with the keywords, these keywords and these anchors together is what we call tags, HTML tags, all right? So HTML tags are specific keyword anchor combinations that are used in the markup system. I mean, should I type that? I don't think I need to. But at least when you watch the video, you remember. So HTML tags, okay, are specific keyword and anchor combinations that are used to mark up content. Specific keyword and anchor combinations that are used to mark up content. If you look at that simple example again, I believe now you know what these guys are, and you can see the way I use them. So this LI is English for LI, but in combination with this, it becomes what we call an LI tag. This UL is a simple, these are letters, UL, but in HTML, it's a name. In combination with these anchors, it becomes what we call a UL tag. In fact, I made one mistake there. Okay, so we're going to look at this more about later on. Don't worry, just relax. We're getting there. I just need to tidy the fundamentals so that we're all on the same page. Okay, let's move to number 15. Slide 15. I'm trying to check the time. So, for example, the following are HTML tags. So you have a word head and it's inside some anchors. You have the one title inside some anchors, body inside some anchors, meta inside some anchors. All these are called tags. In HTML, they are called tags. Okay, so I believe that at this point, HTML pages and tags is something you understand. You know about. Don't let me say you understand. You know about. Right now, if I say tag, you know about it. You still don't know much about it, but you at least it's not a stranger to you anymore. All right, let's move on to something else. HTML tags can have a beginning and an ending tag. Let's wait there. Let's just pause and understand the meaning of that statement. We started class by talking about web pages, and then we moved on to say, oh, web pages are not just normal pages. So they are pages that you encode using HTML markup, because HTML is a markup language, and it uses some special components, some special things called tags to mark up content. Okay, those tags are a combination of keywords and anchors. Okay, that was where we started from. And then we got to this point and we now said, okay, some of those anchors have beginning and ending, and some of them don't have beginning and ending. Okay, so some have only beginning like this, and some have beginning and ending. How do you know the one that is the beginning? How do you know the one that is the ending? Well, the tag is made up of a special name and anchors. So when you have that special name and anchors, you have the beginning tag. Let me just come and put it here. Another thing we're going to talk about is beginning tags and then ending tags. Okay? Beginning tags and ending tags. A much more professional word would be start, close. So start or beginning tags, beginning. Sorry, I hope that spelling is correct. Begin, start or begin tags. Let's leave it at begin. And then close or ending tags. So those are the types, those are generally categories of tags that we have. Some have beginning, some have end. Some have beginning and end, some have only begin. I hope you understand that. So these are the ones that are big. So that's what this whole aspect is about. So let's look at that basic document again in detail. So if you look at this document again, all right, you will notice that some things are here that have beginning and end. For example, this one that is called head, it starts here and it ends here, okay? This other one that is called body, it starts here and it ends here. This one that is called link is only in one place. It doesn't have any ending tag. This one that is called meta, that's the name meta there. Meta is the first word there. Link, the first word. Title, the first word. The name is always the first word. It also has no ending, but title has beginning and end. HTML, which is also another type of tag, has beginning and end, but this tag, doc type, that one doesn't have beginning and end, so by itself. So that's basically the ones that form the fundamental structure of our website page. The doc type is the one that tells the browser that it is dealing with an HTML document. Now, that you would have said, is that really true? Well, that is by standard, it is true. However, like I told you that the browsers are wiser now. So they don't only know by the doc type, they also know by the file extension. They also know by the extension, the type of file. So this tells your browser that it's an HTML document. It's always placed at the top of a web page or HTML file. It does not have a closing tag. Its purpose is specifically to define the document to the browser. So the work of this one is to let the browser know, okay, this document is HTML. It could have been PDF, it could have been Microsoft Word, it could have been PowerPoint. In that case, I will put that extension here, and then the browser will know what kind of document it is. Okay, let's move on. The meta tag, which was the second one you saw, is usually used to describe data. Just like you use when you go to the library and you want to get a book, and you give the librarian your card and you tell him the book you want, the librarian will use some group of information to find the book you're looking for. That's the same way this meta tag works. Meta is actually used to define information about something. So we use meta tags to give more information about the web page that we're dealing with. So the more metadata you give the document, the more information about it. So the browser will have that information, and any other application that deals with that web page will also have that information. So these are examples of meta tags, but don't let's bother too much about them because basically it's information about information, and we're going to be dealing with only 2 meta tags in the whole lot, okay, at this level, okay? So, but just in case you want to know, metadata is what your search engine normally use to find your document. Let me put this in a different column. So metadata is what your search engine, in fact, this is what search engines rely on when they are dealing with all the browsers, all the web pages that are moving through the web. The metadata here is collected and saved by the web browser alongside with the origination of the website. That means where is it coming from, which server is it coming from, and all the data in it. So metadata is now stored. Okay, so this data is used by search engines to help you to look for such documents. So the more data you have in your document, the more easier it is for search engines to be able to locate you. So if I created a web page, a profile web page about me, the metadata section is where I will put much information. So by the time my web page goes through the browser, through the internet, maybe a friend in London checks it, a friend in Canada checks it, a friend in Australia looks at it. By the time 10 people check my website, it will look like though 1 million people have seen my site because of the way my metadata is being described. So anytime you search for me on the internet, it will pop me up straight. Why? Because of that extensive metadata that my web pages are carrying. Of course, that was the idea then. It used to happen then. It still happens now, except that nowadays there's a bit more advanced way of making your website more optimized, search engine optimized. There are some other ways, much more advanced than this way. This way is based on manual movement for pages. Those ways are based on configured movements. And that's not part of that. That's in a course we call digital marketing. All right, let's move on. So, but that's one of the uses of metadata. So some of the metadata tags we'll be looking at, character sets, okay? Sorry. So meta tags are specified using certain features, such as their attributes and their values. So when I said that you are configuring your page with metadata, you use the attributes and values of the metadata. So I don't want us to go too much into that because of the keyword attributes and values. What are attributes and what are values? I think we should add that here. What are, okay, attributes and values. So because this is a beginner class, we're going to say tags, tag, okay? HTML, let's even pronounce it in the complete word. HTML, tag attributes, okay? HTML tag attributes and HTML tag values. So this should put it in a much more clear, concise method. So when you hear attributes and values, you won't think vaguely. You will think HTML tag attributes and values. What are they? And what are they? And how are they used? Okay, so that's a very important question. I'll put that in red and move it in here a bit. So let's go there. So I'm going to skip this and move on to the next page. We'll talk more about this when we know more about attributes and values. Okay, so another tag we saw there is the title tag. And the title tag is usually used to give name to the web page document. And we'll look at that more in an example later on. So when you mention title tag, you're mentioning the tag that is used to name a web document. Okay, that is what the title tag does. The link tag that we saw in the previous element is used to attach documents to your web page. Okay, that's all you need to know. Link tags are used to attach document to your web page. That's all you need to remember. You don't need to remember any other thing. All this one I wrote, you don't need to remember it. Just link tags. What is a link tag? You can use it to attach document to a web page. What type of document? Don't worry about it. How do you use it? Don't worry about it. Just know the only one line. What is a link tag? It is used to attach document to your web page. Finish. For now, that's all you need to know. Good. Let's jump this one too. Jump this one too. It's all talking about link tag. All right. Now, the body tag. Excuse me. So what is the body tag? The body tag is the HTML tag that encloses the content of your website. So what do I mean by that? Am I trying to say that all the other ones don't include any, they don't include, so what are the other ones including when this one is including content? Good, that's a lovely question. So when you look at the structure we looked at earlier on, let's go to our HIT website. Let me see. Let's go to hitplc.com. Okay, let's go here. I'm going to show you something. So basically, in your web page, some document, some information, or some content are meant to be kept for people to see. Let me emphasize on it before we come here. Two key elements, HEAD, in fact, not two. Let's call them three, because there are three key elements. Okay. So these are three key, not even elements, let's call them tags. Three key tags or elements. Now, the way I'm using tags and elements is because I want to keep up with what we call consistency. Okay. So when you look at this, every web page has a variety of items. Some items are meant to be kept outside the user view, while some are meant for the user to see. Those ones that are kept that that users won't see and that they will relate with the underground side of your website. Okay, those ones are usually placed inside the this section, the head tag. The body tag, however, is where you put the components that people will naturally interact with. So the head tag is usually where you keep all the tags that your viewers will not deal with. But the body tag is the where you keep all the components that people will deal with. Okay, so I want you to put that at the back of your mind for now. The head tag is where you keep components of your website that people are not going to deal with, but they are instrumental to your website. While the body tag is where you keep content that your people are going to interact with. Okay, and then the HTML tag comprises only of these two tags, head tag and body tag. All the other tags will either go into the head tag or into the body tag or elements. Let's put tag or element because at this point we can't be calling it tag again. We can be calling it tag or element. I will explain why later on. Just let's continue. So all these are definitions. I hope you're getting it. If you're not getting it, let me know. I can always clarify for you. Okay, let's see. I know some people are itching to start building. We'll build, don't worry. She just needs to know some basics. So the body tag is used to house content of our website. All the content of our website goes here. Okay, these are the components that the users will interact with. So these are the components users will interact with. Okay, so this is where this is where all your HTML that people will relate with, your pictures, your text, your videos, that's where they're going to go. Okay, so we mentioned components of a website earlier on. So here it should be components. Remember this, we talked about it earlier on in the previous class. I hope you remember what they are and what they do. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let me see where we are. Wow. I believe that with all the information that we have gathered so far, we should be able to proceed to create our first web page. Now that we know a whole lot of things about web page, I think this is a comfortable way for us to create our first web page. So I think this should be, I don't think this should be here. Let's delete it. Then let's create our first web page. So this is a practical class activity, and then we'll go into it after the break. We will go on a 10 minutes break where I need you to refresh your mind. Okay, these are the things we have learned so far today. Okay, we've not talked about this, so tag attributes, and we'll talk about it very soon. But so far so good. These are all the things we've talked about. Okay, and then we're going to build our first web page today. There's nothing inside, but I'm going to show you. In fact, this should not be like this. Let me duplicate and let me rename it. How to set up. So how okay, let us say your first web page. I think that's okay. All these ones are not necessary. So I'm going to tell you all the things we need for your first web page and how your first web page will be designed. We're going to do all that when we come back from our break. We need to go on a 10-minute break so that you can rest, because I'm about to get to a much more technical aspect of the course. And then I'm going to be showing you what we call how to set up your web design setup. Okay, I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to show you in an example. Some of the things you're going to be needing that you're going to be using in this class. I'm going to show you that also. And then I'm going to set up our first web page, and then we're going to see how to view our web page in the browser. Okay, so we're going to do that when we come back from our break. Let us go on 10 minutes break. Relax, refresh your mind, stroll around, stretch your neck, do like this. You can massage your eyes, and then when we get back, we'll go into the activity. By looking at things you will need, okay? So I know I did a step up here for you. Something is here, but let's look at it from this. Let's be together. So when you're building your website, one of the things you will need is you will need something to edit your code. Okay, you would need something to edit your code because we're building from a do-it-yourself point of view. So you would need a code editor to edit your code. You will need a code editor, specifically HTML code editor. So what is an HTML code editor? Well, an HTML code editor allows you to be able to type HTML code, to view HTML code, to edit HTML code or documents. So normally these editors are called applications that you can use to edit HTML documents or web pages. That is what a code editor is. And there are many types of code editors that you have. So what is a code editor again? A code editor is an application that you can use to edit a web page. Let me put that there. What is a code editor? Okay, what is a code editor? A code editor is an application that you use to edit a web page or an HTML document or a programming code. So it gives you the ability to edit the code. Okay. It also has the ability to do what they call suggestions. So I will show you what I mean by that. It has the ability to do what they call suggestions. So let me show you what I mean by suggestion. This is an example code editor that I use. And then I want you to explain the meaning of the word suggestions. So let's assume I want to type a tag. So this is me typing a tag, and this is a tag, div. Okay. Now I want to type something else here. Okay. When I do something like this, good. You see that the moment I start typing, it begins to bring out suggestions for me, trying to show me some words that it thinks I want to type. This is what I call automatic suggestions. A code editor does automatic suggestions. Okay, so that's one of the things it does. Another thing that it does is that it allows you your code tracking. It can help you to track your code easily. For example, if I were to click on this ending tag, you will see that it will automatically highlight the starting tag. If I click on this one, you see it automatically highlight this. So in this example, it may not be useful, but when you have plenty code, you can use something like that to track the beginning and the end of your codes. So a code editor is a software that you can use to edit your code. So in HTML encoding, you will need a code editor. Okay. Examples of code editor can be found on the internet. So let me just copy this and go show you how to get one. How to get one? Let me just put how to get one. Okay, how to get one. All right. So how do you get your code editor? Okay, how do you get a code editor? Well, you go online like this, and then Just do a general search. It's going to bring a lot of code editors for you. Some people will also call them HTML and CSS editors. Let me just put that in our notes so that we can all know it's part of it. So we can also say something like this. HTML and CSS editors. That's another name for code editors. Sorry, I'm talking code because I'm a code person. You can also say HTML and CSS editors. All right. So what is a code editor? How to get one? So if you come online, you'll see a lot of them. Okay, there's a lot of them. You can pick any one you want. The one I recommend, Sublime Text and Notepad++. Those are the two I will recommend. It's not that I don't want you to use the other ones. So it's just because this one's easy to use. Okay, they will still give you what the others will give you. The others have other functionalities, but I always discourage beginners, people who are learning, from going to the market and buying more than what they went to the market to buy. So using a simple editor would give you sufficient comfort to focus more on learning than to focus on how to use the editor. It is after you have become able to use the editors to edit, after you have finished learning and you understand what you have learned, then you can afford to be using the more complicated ones, because those ones also have their own learning curve, and that can be very problematic for somebody who is just learning. Even I don't use them. Why? Well, I have my own reason. Okay, but it's not because of that reason. It's just because of some other personal reasons that I don't use those complicated ones. You see, so one of those reasons would be when I'm dealing with when I'm writing programs, I don't like my editors giving me wrong suggestions. You see, those editors are not programming, they are not programmers. So some things look funny to them too. So they will start complaining, just like browsers too. And that may not be very healthy when you are working on projects. So usually it's advisable to use something simple that allows you to easily track and monitor what you're doing, and not you know. So I've seen most of my students usually have issues with but they still like to use it because it's fine and fancy. But what I would recommend is Notepad and Sublime Text. You can go and download it. You can download Notepad++ by going to Google, and then you download it here. So when you go to the download page, you can you can click 64 or 32 bits, but it depends on the kind of computer you're using that will determine which one you should pick. So you can either pick a 64-bit or 32 bits. Not all these ones that say stand up for Ukraine make up. So I'm standing up for Ukraine, but that's not the one you're going to download. Just come around to the version 8.1.9, this one, and then you click on it and it brings you here. When you get to this point, you scroll to the one, let's just scroll through, because I'm not even seeing, so you see the icon, but this is due to critical error was found in this, please download this one, So you see the way they two are basically telling you what to do. So you click on this and it will download the file for you. Once it downloads the file for you, you then install it on your computer. Okay, so that is how you install a code editor. You can do the same thing for Sublime Text. You can come to Sublime Text and then Google it, and Google will bring it out. Then you click on download, and once you click on download, it will bring out which one to download. So I will usually tell you that you should download either 64 bits or 32 bits. This is 32 bit here, and this is 64 bit here. So the one you download will depend on what system you are using. If you don't know what type of computer you're using, click on your start button and go to system. I think I should have it. Sorry, not yet. Let me go check. I have it somewhere. I'll get it. Control panel. system. Can you see system? You click on it and to bring this out for you. And then you get to see here where it's written 64-bit operating system. That's the kind of system I am using. Okay. In your own case, what you have here will be related to the kind of computer you're using. So you get to know what kind of computer you're using from there. Based on that, you download whichever one is suited for your needs. Okay. If you have any challenge downloading text editor, you can chat me up on WhatsApp. Sorry, not on WhatsApp, on Instagram. So yes, Instagram. On the Telegram group. And then we'll talk more from there. So that is what your HTML code editor is for. And that is what you need to use it to do. So the second thing you need is a GitHub account. So basically your GitHub account, GitHub is a free code hosting platform where you can GitHub is a free code hosting platform where you can host your HTML codes for free. So that is why you might need it to host your code for free. Okay? Allows you to also see your website in action. And I'll be showing you how to do that in a later class. Okay? So how do you get a GitHub account? Simply go to GitHub. Just type GitHub. And it brings you here, GitHub. And then you sign up for an account by clicking on this, sign up for GitHub account. You need to have an email address. When you put your email address, it allows you to sign up. You fill up the details, confirm your email, and then you're good to go. Make sure you write your username and password somewhere safe so that you get it. So that's how you sign up for GitHub. All right. So these are the things you will need. Okay. So let's look at the third thing we will need here is your project folder. Okay, the project folder. So you create a project. All right, project. So let's do that and let's begin. So to create a project folder, I'm going to be using my desktop as a starting point, just for simplicity purposes. Okay, so things you will need, your project folder, blah, 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 all those things. Let me just copy this and update what we have. So I'm simply going to duplicate this. Put this one here. And then just do this one. And do this one. And I guess that looks nice. So basically, let's start our first web page. So to generate a folder, you simply come here and you create one. So come to new, select folder, and there you have a folder. I'm going to name it web underscore capstone CWD underscore 17 to specify this class. You can name it any name you want. You can also name it your website name. Any name you want is fine. So inside this, this folder is empty. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up for my design. I need a folder for all the media items I will be using in my project. Okay, so inside the project folder, I will create a folder called assets folder. So let me just itemize it here. Okay, the assets folder. So what is the assets folder? Well, the assets folder is a terminology. The word assets is a concept from a long time ago that allows you to put all the things you will use in your website in one place. That is what the assets folder represents. For example, other things that you will use in your website other than text, like pictures and videos, and some other files that you may use in your website are usually kept inside the assets folder. And that is why I'm keeping one there. Okay, so inside the assets folder, I'm going to create some other folders, but for now, I'm going to leave it like this. To create our first web page, we're going to go to Notepad++ like this and open a new tab. So to do that, I'm going to come to File and create New, and this is a new tab. I can also double click here and a new tab will open up. I can also click on this icon and a new file will open up. And then I'm going to name this file. Okay, every web page that you create needs to have a name. So first of all, I'll click on File. I'll go to Save. Okay, Save As. And then I'll navigate to where my project folder is, this one. And then I'll give it a name. The name of your web page is very important, and we're going to talk about it a bit more. The name that you name your web page is usually very critical. So for this very purpose, I will name this Home. Okay. Now, in order to allow Notepad++ to save this file as an HTML file, which is the file that I want to save it as, I'll click on this Save As type and scroll down to the section where you have Hypertext Markup Language. Can you see this? Then I'll select it, and then I'll click on Save. And then automatically you will see home.html, or you will see a file like this having the Explorer icon. You will see that in my, okay. So if I want to create other pages, I can follow the same process. Okay. So this is how to create a web page. But this web page does not contain anything inside. This is just an ordinary web page, and it's going to be visible in the it's going to be visible in a browser. In order to view it in a browser, first of all, notice how I'm going to view it. I'm going to come here and copy the address from here, and then come into my browser and paste it here, and then it will show me something like this. So any file I want to view, I will just click on it and it will open it for me. Right now, our file doesn't contain anything, and also it does not have any details at the top here. We're going to change that in a bit. So now that we have done that, you create the assets folder. So create web and name it home.html. Okay. Now, every website is supposed to have a default page. So let's call this website default page. Every website needs to have a default page. The default page is usually the index.html. The index.html signifies the first page that users will see when they come to your website. It usually contains content for your home page or default page on your website. Okay, it's usually contain contents for the home page or landing page. So that's the index.html file. That is what it usually contains. Okay. So after designing our home page, that was an example just to show you how to create an HTML page. Let's now create the index page. Create the index.html. I want to show you the importance of the index.html. The importance, okay? I don't normally put it because it usually doesn't allow me to work the way I want to work. But for your purpose, because you guys are learning it, I have to put it so you can understand it. So you can notice that when I put this browser here, it opened up to this page. Like it was showing me the content of my page. Well, when I create an index page, let's create another one, new, and then file, save as. I'm going to call this index, okay? And then click on this and go to HTML. It's my HTML. So I'm going to save, and then this becomes my index.html. When you view my site, you will now see my site folder. You will now see a file called index.html here. So this index.html is the default page of a website. So if you come here now and you refresh, you see index.html. Okay. Now this method is very nice and I like it and it's very good. But in practice, what happens in practice, I want to show you. So for the purpose of that, please bear with me. I may have to quickly do something outside of your scope. All right. But that is for me to help you see what the I want to help you see what the purpose of the index page is. Just hold on for uh, 1 minute. No. Okay, I'll just run it like that. So let's go into, so this method doesn't refer to you, but please bear with me, okay? So I want to show you what the, I want to show you what's that very, the index page, what does it do? So it's very important you understand it. So I'm going to show you that. But what I'm doing, this, yeah, you understand the importance, but this method I'm using doesn't refer to you. This is not something you should, I'm just doing that because I need to show you what I need to show. So this is one way of doing it. There are 1 million ways of doing what I'm about to do. So I'm just going to run one funny server on my computer, and it will help us figure out what we want to figure out. And I'm doing it in front of you so you can see what I'm doing and know what I'm doing. But you don't need to learn what I'm doing. Okay, so that's basically. All right. So where's my code? Yeah. So this little code comes with Python, and then allows you to be able to do something like this. So what happens is that this allows me to run a website server on my computer. Okay, and that's basically how that does. So in order to view the server, you now come to your browser, and then this is not part of your course. Okay, I'm just trying to show you the importance of what we call index file. I want to show you the importance. All right, so now I'm going to go back into my folder. This is my folder, and I'll do something. I'll make a change. All right. When I make that change, I want this folder is my website. This is my website on my computer. This is also the same way to look on the internet. So this, you're seeing a blank space, a blank page here, right? This page is the default page of my website. Every website has a default page called index.html or index or something. In this case, the reason why we're not seeing it like that here is because we're not serving it from a server. When your page is served from a server, the server will look for the index file and display it. If you don't have an index file, like I'm about to change this to $X, so let me do that again. So now there's no index file in my website. When you go to that site, you are going to see a directory listing. So you are going to see a directory listing of all the files inside of it, if there is no index.html there. But if there is a index.html there, then the server will load that index first. It will not ignore it. But if it doesn't exist, it will simply load all the other contents. So by changing that back to index, you can now see that this is my index page. All right, so that is your little expose to that. Let's move on to the next concept and let's understand it. I'm going to shut down the server because basically we don't need it. And this is not a full stack development class. So I'm going to serve the files manually as I was doing before. I just wanted you to understand the importance of the index file. Okay. And I believe with that little exercise, you get the idea. Okay, so now let's go to our Brave and let's continue. So this won't work again since I've shut down that server. Let's come back here. So the first thing we learned was that the index page is like this. Let's go back into our code, our PowerPoint presentation, and then let's look at what we were talking about earlier on about the basic website structure. Okay, so the basic website structure. So in creating our, let me just put this here or any. So we're going to take this code that is here, and then we're going to bring it into our website code here. Put it in our page here. Okay. Here, we will give our website a name. Let's call it Vision or Visual Tech. That's a technology company. So Visual Tech is the name. I want you to notice the differences that will happen. Of course, there are some mistakes here, so I got to correct them quickly. So when you refresh, you see that the name at the top here changes to Visual Tech. That was implemented because of this element, this one here. That is what made it possible for us to have that. Okay, all the other things are not necessary. So this is the basic code that you need to create your web page. As you can see, the web page is empty. There is nothing inside except the name, Visual Tech. All right, let's move on from there. The second thing I want to talk about is the style, this one that I highlighted in red. From what you know from about, this is a special element or tag that we'll talk about later on in the class. Let's proceed to the other part of the class. So the first set slides explain how to open your page, which I have shown you. And then here, we finalize that we're able to create our first web page, although it doesn't contain anything. So before I move on from here, I would like to ask, based on everything we've talked about, is there any questions? Any questions on everything we've talked about? Do you have any questions at all? So far, on everything we've done, you can send me a chat. So yeah, yes, you can go ahead and you can post your question on the chat. Let me see, or you can ask, unmute your mic and ask if that's possible, or you can post it here or ask, unmute your mic and ask. You can unmute your mic and ask. All right, so the question is the concept of the index.html. So the question is about the index.html. Okay, all right, so I believe, I don't know if she's here. Okay, I believe they will take your name now and add you to the Telegram group so you can join. And then how to get the code, I will upload the code to the group, the Telegram group after the class. I will upload these codes and the notes will be uploaded to the Telegram group. So the concept of the index.html is a server-sided concept. Okay, the index file is a default file of every website. In practice, when you host your website and people go there, the server will load the index file if it finds it. But if it does not find it, it will not load it. It will load your site like this. So that is the purpose of the index file. The index file is the entry point in any website. That is for static site development. In higher level, it's not so. But at this point, at this level, the index.html is the entry file for okay, so somebody is still talking about the pictures. Okay, so basically, I'm not saying you will regret. I'm saying you will not want to take pictures again. That's what I'm saying. Well, we live in a world where privacy is very expensive, and sadly, a lot of applications exploit that. Of course, they say that they will not share your information with anybody, which is fine, which is okay. Anyone can say that. But if you take a picture, for example, there's something called geotagging alongside with other meta tagging data that your phone will attach to that picture. For example, the location where that picture was taken, the surrounding information like where it was taken, who took the picture, what kind of phone, the access code of the phone, so many information like that. So many details like that will be tagged on that phone. So if you're like me, if you're very security conscious, you wouldn't want all those kind of details flying around. Like what I'm trying to say is any application can look at that picture and know where exactly it was taken. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So basically any app can just examine that picture and say this picture was taken at number 72. Number 72 Awolowo Way inside the HIIT building on so date at so time in so position at so angle by so phone that belong to so person Whose number is this? So you can see why I said it's really crazy. So you can have as much information as possible on that picture. So that's just it. And if you do not like such information like that about you, you may not want to do that. But it is what it is. So that's what it is. So it's not really something so extreme. It's just about the information that that picture is carrying. So if somebody should send me your picture on WhatsApp, I can actually tell more about that person and that picture by examining the picture itself. I don't need you to tell me where you took it, when you took it. I can actually get all those data from that picture itself. So that's if you send me a picture on WhatsApp, so I can analyze that picture and get so many things out of the picture that you did not know I would get when you were sending it to me. So that's just part of what I'm trying to say. That's just what I'm trying to say. Of course, you will need to have a higher level of knowledge to do that, but those are the possibilities. Yes, geotagging. Not that type of geotagging. It's beyond the concept of our course. Let's go ahead and continue. So yeah, now that we all have that sorted out, the next thing we want to do now is let's look at our document in more detail. Okay. One of the things we're going to talk about is that we have the base code here, which we were used to generate our first HTML page. And this allows us to understand some of the basic structure of our HTML page. Okay. And that is where we're going to pause this particular presentation, generating our first HTML page. Now, the next thing we're going to look at, we want to look at the concept of tags. We want to look at the concept of tags and elements and where they form an important role in our design. So the first thing I want to do here is if I wanted people to see a message and the message is called welcome to my website. There are two ways I can display that message. The first way to display the message is to actually come into my index.html and say something like, welcome to my website. So this is the first way to put this text. Okay, website. Of course, we have a course on ethical hacking, though, if you want to get more information about all that. So you can sign up for that course. It will really show you, it will teach you a lot of things. A course on ethical hacking. So it will really educate you more on all these things I'm talking about. All right, let's look at this welcome to my website, which is a text that I wrote inside my page. When you come and view my website, you're going to see a text here, welcome to my website, okay? That's what you're going to see. But this welcome to my website does not really look nice. It's just a text, okay? To format it with HTML code, I would do something like this. Okay. We're just going to add some formatting. So you can see that as I'm typing, the editor is giving me suggestions. So that was what I meant by suggestive entries. it's giving me suggestions of what it thinks I want to type. So I'll explain everything I'm doing later on. I just want to show you a sample of a markup. That's all I'm going to show you. Just do a sample of markup. Everything I'm doing, we're going to talk about it in detail. So let's try and see that same platform again. So now you have a different perspective. This one looks different from the one you saw the first time. Okay, so basically, actually, I wouldn't want to put that. I'm just going to say visual tech. So this is simply me using HTML to create a simple welcome header in a web page. And I did that by using HTML code. So I did that using HTML code, and that's what we got. So basically, that is a simple markup for generating the web page. All right, so let's go and understand the concept of. So I believe everybody can create a simple web page, but you may not be able to type the kind of code I typed like this, but you should be able to create a simple HTML page. Set up your project and create something like this. Not type anything here, we don't need to know that one, but at least you should know how to put this content. Okay, so this is the first thing we're going to be learning. Let's proceed to understanding HTML tags and HTML elements. And why are they important? Okay, the tags are the starting and ending parts of an element. Okay, remember I said something about using tags and elements interjectly. What I mean is that you can use them pari passu for the other. Technically, they are not the same thing. Okay, but you will find out that when people are referring to tags, they mean elements. When they are talking elements, they mean tags. So, for the purpose of your education, I will try to expatiate on the differences between them. When you go on the internet and you study, you read, you will get many different definitions. So I'm just going to take it to you straight up from school and show you what they mean. So a tag is basically an HTML tag. Whenever is made up of the anchor symbols and a keyword in HTML. So when you use the anchor symbol and the HTML name to generate a tag. A tag is the unit of markup. A tag is a unit of markup. Okay? The unit of markup is a tag. And a tag is created by using the anchor tags and an HTML key name or letter. So your notes, let me put that there. So you can say a tag is the unit of HTML markup. So that means that when you want to perform a markup on anything, any content, you are going to use a tag to do it. Okay? And you can say a tag is generated using the anchor symbols and an HTML keyword. Remember what I called keywords? Keywords are generally specific words that are limited to that programming language. That is where the idea of keywords came from. Keywords or letters. Keyword or letters. Okay? So I'll give you a list of keyword and letters in HTML that you can deal with. I'll type it all here for you. So whatever is written inside the anchor tags is a keyword. Okay, so the keyword is written. So let me put it here. So I think this makes more sense. An HTML keyword is written inside the anchor tags and the structure is called this. So this is an example of a tag. What is the relationship between tags, HTML documents, web pages? What's the relationship? Well, the last two, web pages and HTML, you know the relationship between them. HTML pages make up web pages, or HTML is used to encode by marking up the content of a web page. But what is the relationship between the tags and the HTML document itself? So when I mean the HTML document, I mean the code structure, the markup structure of a web page. So by saying HTML document structure, we are referring to the code structure of the web page itself, the code structure. How does the code look like? That's what we mean when we say the HTML structure. We mean the code structure, the coding that generates that page. So this HTML structure is generated using tags. So tags create elements. Elements create HTML document structure. Can you see the relationship? The tags are used to generate elements, and elements are used to generate the HTML code structure. So that is basically the relationship between them. So a simple tag will look like what you're seeing on the board. The name, the element name is there, encoded in the anchor tags. And remember what I said, a tag can have a starting tag or can have only a starting and a closing tag. Okay, a tag can have a starting tag only or closing tag. One of them can. A tag can be identified by its keyword. Some tags can be used to enclose content. When a tag is used to enclose content, it will have a start tag and a closing tag. Not all the tags have starting and closing tags. Tags can contain attributes. Attributes are used to modify the behavior of the tag. So let's put, now that we know what tags are, I think we can continue to the next level. So a tag is generated using the anchor tag symbols and an HTML keyword or letters. So we talked about it. So attributes, okay? Attributes. Okay. These are used to modify the behavior of the tag. Let me practice this for you so you understand it. These are used to modify the behavior of the tag. Let's come back to this place, and then I'm going to just remove everything I wrote here to explain what we mean by tag behavior. So this element, this is an HTML tag, okay, which I used to create this component. One of the things you're going to realize here is that when we view it, it's going to look like this. This is what it looked like before. That's me just showing you some things. It's going to look like this now. You can see the way it looks. You can see the text. So this is a normal tag in action. And there are many tags for different purposes, and we're going to look at that later. So normally this tag looks like this. But if I want to add color to this text now, if I want to make it look bigger, if I want it to become in the middle, I will need to make some adjustments. So when I go into my tag, this tag, if I did something like this, if I said align is equal to center, okay? If I did something like this, align is equal to center, okay? When you say align is equal to center, all right? Let's observe what happens to this element. So you can see that it moved from where it was before back to the middle. You can see that, right? Okay, what is this align is equal to center? What do we call it? That is what we call an attribute. An attribute is something that you add to a tag to modify its behavior. These are used to modify the behavior of the tag. That is what attributes are. Okay, some HTML tag attributes. There are many types of attributes. I'll just list some of them. Height, weight, align, color, border, there are many. There are so many. Font. Let me see. Background. VG color. So many. I only remember only these ones. That's not true, but just trying to see. Let me see. Okay, these are just some. Let's keep it here for now. Don't worry. As we move on, you get to understand more of them. So I'm going to tell you what they do. So basically, you have some of this. It's usually height of used to tell us how to align the content of an element. It's usually used to give color to the text of an element. Border is usually used to define the type of font, the size of the font of an element. Background refers to many things. But in other words, it will affect the background of an element. An old attribute that refers to the background to the background color of an element. All right, so we're going to meet most of this later. Let's just, I'm just trying to let you know examples of attributes. So, and we're going to practice them. But let's move on through the presentation and then. So we use the tag to modify the behavior of an element, okay? The tags contain attributes, and attributes are used to modify the tag's behavior. Attributes are used in a name value pair. This means that the attribute will have a name and the attribute will have a value. Okay, so there are many type of HTML attributes. We talk about them also, and there are many types of HTML tags. We'll talk about this also. Let's go on to this where we're talking about how to an attribute to a tag. So you simply type in the header in the starting tag. Attributes are always placed in the starting tag when you want to modify an element. An HTML tag is used to mark the start or end of an element, as you can see in the above illustration. Okay, let's go on. However, it is common usage. In common usage, the terms HTML and HTML tag are interchangeable. That is, a tag is an element for simplicity's sake, and the terms tag and element are used to mean the same thing. So I told you that before. These are different types of tags in HTML, and I'm going to do a little bit of example on. I'm going to do an explanation on this. Most HTML tags can have what are called attributes. There are many types of attributes. Some are required, others are not. They always follow the same format, and the attributes modify or add meaning to the tag or the element. In the following example, we have a tag that is called item, and then we have an attribute called optional, and the value is 1. Okay. In this next example, we're talking about the syntax of an attribute. Attributes follow a relatively simple format. You have the tag, then the attribute name, and then the attribute value, then some content. Attributes go inside the opening tag of an element. The attribute's name is predefined name from the HTML specification, and there are many attribute tags, like some of this. I think we remember all these ones when I was talking. So href, title, class, source, and so on and so on. The attribute value is the data for the attribute. So all I'm trying to say here is an attribute can have a name and an attribute can have a value. In this example, you have the attribute aligned and the value is right. Okay, and then you see the tag and where it is being used. So the attributes are used inside the starting tag. There are many types of attributes. The attribute value is the data that is assigned to it. All the HTML elements have attributes, and the attributes provide additional information about the elements. Attributes are always specified in the starting tag, and they come in name value pairs. In this example, we have an ID attribute with the value my ID. And we'll talk about this type of attributes much more later. This value that you put here can be generated by you, but the attribute name is predefined. Now, in HTML tag, the attribute names are not case sensitive, but the attribute values can be case sensitive. So in this example, I'm talking about a P tag, and a P tag can give you it's a particular kind of tag for a particular kind of action. Whether you write it small letter or capital letter, they will be interpreted the same way when the HTML file is rendering. Also, some attributes are required for certain elements, while they are not required for some certain elements. So in this example, I showed some attributes that are relevant to certain elements. In other words, attributes are element bias. Some will work in some elements and some will not work in some elements. Okay. You can put the values in the attribute values in either single or double quotes. It doesn't really, it can either be single or it can be double. And this is another example of attributes in a tag. So here you have a kind of tag. Here there's another tag. Here you have some attributes. This one is href and title. The attributes in this one is source and alt. Those are two types of attributes. Okay. Then let's now talk about HTML elements. But before we go into HTML elements, I want to refresh or quickly talk about HTML tags and their basics. So here we said some HTML tag attributes, and here we talked about a tag. Okay. I'm going to list some kind of tags and their categories and then tell you about them. Okay. So we have we have the categories of tags in HTML. Let me put that here. Categories of tags in HTML. Okay. There are different tags for different purposes. The first one there, we're going to call them text formatting tags. These tags are usually used for text formatting. Okay, alignment of text, positioning of text, changing text color, changing text size. These tags are used for that. Okay. Another set of tags are called paragraph tags. So this category definition is by what they do. Okay, is by what they do. There is a different kind of categorization by their display type. So this category by what they do, by function. So paragraph tags are used to maintain sections. When it comes to sectioning your website, you use paragraph tags to achieve such sectioning. So I will literally call this paragraph or section tags. So these are tags that you use to create paragraphs or sections within your site. Okay. Image tags. Image tags are usually used to generate images. Okay. You can use image tags to place images inside your HTML document. Another set of tags are audio/video tags. Audio video tags are used to place audio or video content in your HTML document. So by using them, you can put video or audio tracks inside your HTML document. We also have font. Okay, sorry, not font. Let me see. We also have structure tags. These structure tags are actually tags you use to create your HTML structure. For example, header and footer. So this kind of tags are usually tags that you use to designate header footer sections and that kind of structure within your elements. So you can have the header, you can have the body, you can have the footer in an element. So you use structure tags for that. We also have block tags. So block tags are tags that are usually, they usually take the full size of the screen. They take the full width of the screen. Okay, these are what we call block tags. Then you have inline tags. Inline tags are a second category of tags that do not take the full width of the screen. Inline tags usually align beside each other, but the block tags are usually aligned on every new line. They don't share. Two block tags never share the same section in the web page. But inline tags, they can stay beside each other. But block tags, they always start on the new line. So these are just some types of tags that you have, and examples can be found here. So let me just underline this, make it this. Text formatting tags, for example, are tags like font tag, okay, font tag. You also have um, paragraph tag. You also have span tags. You also have, oh, sorry, you can't have span, yeah. You have fonts, okay. Um, you have italicize. You have bold. You have underline. Um, then you have these funny ones, superscript and subscript. These are just some examples. There are a whole category of them. But the whole idea is for you to know some, and your knowledge allows you to now deal with the others. Why do I have font in two places? Break. Okay. So these are some text formatting tags. Paragraph and sectioning tags. I believe these ones are so let's take some of these paragraph and section tags. So we have these guys, okay, and then we also have something called section, which is a tag. You also have something called div, which is section tag. You also have something called cable. You also have something called span. These are all paragraph section tags, or they can all function in that category. So there are still others, but I just want to give you a rough idea of how they are being used. Next, we're going to look at image tag. There's only, not just only, but let's just say there is the image tag itself, and then there is the other one, which you call the embed tag. It can do more than image, okay? It can do more than image. And then iframe, but iframe is a much more higher tag because it can do more than picture. Embed you can do more than picture, but I'm using them here because you can use them for that function. You can also use them here also in the this place, but there is also the video tag, and then there is also the audio. And then structure tags are tags like header, and then you have the body, And then you have the footer. Other types of structure tags include the T body, yeah, TH, and then C H E A D, then the T footer. There's T footer, but they all just they all do the same thing as just the header footer. This one is specific to the table. And then this one is a very interesting category, the block tags. Why is it interesting? Well, because this one actually divides the entire HTML tag into two categories. So you see all these tags I've been mentioning, all of them fall under these two. I'll just give you some examples of some. So you see these guys, table section, these ones, they fall under this category of block tags. And then you see these ones that we call this one, span. They fall under this category. You also have so these are just some. There are many. These are just some. Okay. You also have other tags in HTML. Like HTML, you have the form for generating form tags. You have that, which I didn't mention in any of those categories because it didn't fit there. So this is just meeting some of these tags, okay? And I'll send this to you just for you to have an idea. So now, what we're going to do is move on through here to quickly see some other elements that can be introduced into our website. Now, the next item here is favicon. And the favicon is a very popular concept. Okay, hold on. Before we come here, I think I should exclude this. This is a second presentation. Let's exclude this one first. Let's finish up on this one. HTML elements. So we said elements enclose the contents in between the tags. Okay, they consist of some kind of structure or a kind of expression. So you realize that in general, an element usually is made up of a tag, but a tag cannot be made up of an element. That is the general technical conception. There's nothing like there are tags, but you can't say an element made up a tag. No, you rather say this element is made up. This element is made up of this tag. This tag was what generated this element. Okay, so basically that's what they do. It is the elements that are used to generate components of a website. So here you can see that this is an element, but we will refer to it as a paragraph element. You can see the content and you can see the element itself, and you can see this closing tag and the starting tag. So this is what we would refer to as an element. An element is more or less like an active tag, a tag that is in action. That's what we call an element. In this example, this element is called a link element. Yeah, I didn't even mention that in this section. You have link tags. I didn't mention that here. You have the link tags also. And in this category, you have the anchor. You have the link. Okay. And then you also have, all right, just lay down. So here is an example of a link tag. When you click on it, it will take you to another web page. So basically, it contains the opening tag and the closing tag. But you can see the content, contact us, and then you can see the attributes. So This is an element, but this is a tag. It is tags that make up the element. So that is where the technical difference comes in. Elements themselves are now used to generate compound elements or components. In this example, you can see the starting tag and the ending tag and the content, but the entire structure is referred to as an element. Okay. Now, there is a relationship between the elements and the HTML document structure. Remember what I called the HTML document structure? I said that it refers to the coding structure of the web page. So because the coding structure is the codes that generate that page, we refer to it as the document structure. When we view the document above, we get to see the document structure above. We saw that many elements were placed together. But there was something that I emphasized there when I said that the major elements there are three. And in this example, I try to emphasize such discussion. So I'll go back there to refer to it, where I said the elements are actually three. The three major elements. Where are they? Uh-oh. But I mentioned them. I can't see it. Try. Okay, thank God. So I said three key tags and elements. So HTML, head and body. Why are they major? Why are they major? Well, when you look at the document structure, you realize that there are three major elements in the document structure. Let's look at it together. When you look at this document structure, you realize there are three, but let me show you in practice that there are three. I won't show you like this. I'll show you in a different. So I want you to observe what happens. When I click on the HTML element, what do you notice? You can see that it has its contents, the opening tag and the closing tag, right? When I click on body, you can see how the body is marked. When I click on head, you can see how the head is marked. In a nutshell, oh, sorry. Okay, so in a nutshell, I can actually say that, let's just position it a bit more. So if you look at this redesign that I just did, you observe that in a nutshell, this HTML actually contains two main tags, head and body. That's what this construction will help you to see. There are actually two main children of this HTML. The first one is the head and the second one is the body. Those are the two main elements inside. The head is the one that contains all these guys and many more. The body is the one that contains all these guys and later many more. But the structure of this document is such that you have the HTML, then the head and body, and then the other tags. This is what we call the fundamental HTML document structure. It disposes that every HTML document has the HTML as the mother, and then two main children, the head and the body, where the head and the body now contains all the other components of the website. The head will contain components that the user will not interact with, while the body will contain the components that the user will see and interact with. So this is the fundamental document object model that you've been hearing about. Okay. Yeah. So this is the fundamental document object model that we've been hearing about. Okay, sorry, not you, but that is being talked about, the DOM. Okay, the DOM is the HTML document structure of an HTML page. It refers to the document object model, which presupposes that every HTML document contains an HTML mother body, mother element, which now contains the head element and the body element. And then all the other elements are inside it, as we're going to see later on. So that is the fundamental of the document object structure. So here we looked at it again and said the structure of a web page looks like this. In this example, I can color them for you to see. So we'll call this one color blue. So you can see that that's where that one starts. And then call this one. The head can now be color red. And let's close the head. Okay, let's close the head. And then let's pull the body in the other color, this one. So you can see clearly that every object is the sum of all these elements. And this is what we refer to as the document object model. This code structure. So this is the code structure of the regular HTML page that you see. Every web page has it. If you go online now and you check HI, in fact, if you check this page, I'm looking at this web page. Let's view the page source. Sorry, not this one. I want to view the page itself. It's not nice. It's giving me something else. Aha. So when you view the page source, you will see document type at the top. You will see HTML. You will see the head and all the content in the head. You can see all of them. They are much, but they are all there. All the contents are there. The head stops here. Can you see where it stops? And then the body takes over from there and all the way down to the end of this file. You see the body all the way down. Let's just scroll down to the end. Aha. So when you get to this point, you get to see the end of the body. So let me show you that in a bit. So you see the body and then you see the HTML. So every web page on the internet, that's their basic structure. They have the mother document, which is HTML, containing two documents, the head, containing two elements, the head and the body. The head contains things that will process the page or other information that users will not relate with, while the body contains the ones you are going to relate with. All this that you are seeing is in the body. Now, it doesn't matter that the page is very large. The body can contain a very large number of content. That is the basic document object model that we're talking about. Okay? Okay. So in this picture, you get to see the document object model very clearly. So here you see the DOM, the document, which is the one that you saw at the top, this one, this guy. There's a document, okay? And that's the root element, which is the HTML. This is the HTML, the root element, and then the head, can you see? And then the body. I still have a second description of it, the same thing, but you have the document, you have the root, and then you have the head and the body. You can see that, those are the key elements, and every other element is in between them. Okay, let's see the third one. You can see this one too. You have the root HTML, which is the HTML component, this one that contains everybody. Then you have the head and then the body. And you can see that the body here contains many other things, and the head contains only some things. So that is the basic document object structure page. We refer to it as the document object model. And in this diagram, you see the code on the left, and then you see the real design on the right. So this is the code. The pictorial representation is on the left, on the right, sorry. And then the code representation, you can see it on the left. So that is what we refer to as the document object model. It refers to the picture representation of the code structure of an HTML page. Okay, the DOM, the pictorial representation of the code structure of the web page. So it gives us a visual, pictorial visual. Of course, every application that deals with HTML pages are going to relate with this DOM. So you see why I said that there is a standard expected of your web page, because this is what other third parties will be looking out for when they are dealing with your web page. They will be expecting a document that has a HTML root and head and a body, and they will use that to traverse and look at other things. So it is a standard that is expected. So here, the doc type, we already know what that is. We know what the meta tag is. We already talked about it earlier on. And here, there are many examples of meta tag, but I gave you descriptions there, but don't capitalize on it for now. The only one I think you should capitalize on is this example here. This is the one that helps you to add description to your web page. I'll put it in brown. So this one allows you to add description to your web page. You have to pay attention to this one too, because this one is responsible for responsive layout design. That one, just those two. So we talked about the title tag. We looked at the link tag. I said we'll talk more about these guys, the body tag, and then we created our web page, and then we came to favicon. So now that we've been able to look at the document object model, we can continue by learning more icons, more tags, and how they help us to enhance our website. So the first thing we're going to be looking at next is we're going to be looking at the concept of the favorite icon. So what is the favorite icon in our website? What is it and what does it do? It's a shortcut from the favorite icon. That's what favicon means. And it's usually a small logo that you find in front of the visited website URL. What I mean is, if you look at this site now, you see where it's written HTML color code. That's the name. If you look at the source code of this site, you will see this name in the title bar. This picture you are seeing here is called the favicon. Okay, that is what a favicon is. And if you want to integrate favicon, we're going to look at how to do it. So it is a small logo found in front of the visited URL. It can be seen in an address bar, and it is used to promote a company trademark, or on the other hand, it is useful for the user to quickly locate, so that the user can quickly locate the URL that they want to click on. So as my web page is open like this, the favicons will allow me to know which page is which page. In order to add your favicon to your page, you need to create the favicon first, put it in the file where the website is located, and then you use the link to attach it. So this is why I call this the link tag. The link tag is the tag that you normally use to attach your favorite icon. Okay, so in this example, we're going to try and perform that first. So let's go into our design and see how to add favicon to our website. So I'm just going to come to, I have one picture, so I'm just going to go get it. Okay, let me go to my downloads and see. I think here, this is one picture we can use, or it's a JPG. All right, so let me look for another one, something. All right, so some of them are PNGs. So let's choose one. You can choose this one and try and use it. But it looks like okay. Let me use this. So let's assume that that icon is what I want to use for my favorite icon. So let me add it here. So now that I guess we're halfway around. Attributes, we've talked about them, but we've not practiced them. So here, we're going to talk about favorite icons. Fav icons. Okay, that's the last topic we'll talk about before we call it a day. And then I'm going to show you what they are, how to use them. What are they? How to use them. Okay, so those are two things we're going to be dealing with right now. Fav icons. So I'm going to come to my assets folder. Okay, and because my assets folder is a place where all the things I'll use in my website are kept, I'm going to create something called images. Okay, and in the images folder, I will put something here, and then I'll call it icon, ICON. Okay, that's what I'm going to put. The icon, I'm going to use it in two ways. Okay, now in my website, I want to add the favicon code. So here is Visual Tech. That our name, Visual Tech, is very technical. That logo doesn't really look like it. But we'll just use it to learn, okay? Let's just use it to learn, all right? Next, you can always get a graphics guy to design something for you. So here, to add the favorite icon to my website, what I would do is to come here and say link, L-I-N-K. So the link tag is one of the link tags I told you about. I'm going to be linking my favorite icon to this guy. The first thing I need to specify is what type of link is it. To do that, I will use an attribute called relationship. The relationship attribute allows the web page to know what I'm linking to it and what to do with it. And then I'm going to say icon. So I'm already telling it, okay, well, this file that I'm linking to you is the relationship between you and it is that it is your icon. The next thing I'm going to do here is I will then say, where is it located? In order for me to know where it's located, I will use another attribute called href attribute, which is usually used to show the uniform resource location. Href is usually used for uniform resource location. So I'm going to say the URL for this guy, this icon I want to add, is located in the assets folder inside images, and the file is called icon.png. Okay. So all things being equal, if that is where the code is, it should appear up here. But that's not where the code is. Let me check the name of what I typed. Oh, sorry. It's a JPG file, and I don't want to use a JPG file. There is a reason I don't want JPG file. They are usually very, I didn't even see it here. I want to use a PNG. Okay, this one is a PNG, so I guess we can use this one. Let's call it tlogo. tlogo.png. Let's use this one, sorry. Let's this one even looks much mature than the other one. Abi, what do you think? Let's just continue what we're doing. Everything is just learning. Okay, let's paste it there. tlogo.png. Let's remove this one. So let's change the name to tlogo.png. So we say tlogo.png. All right. So by selecting that, we should be able to, if you look up here in this place, you will see that an icon is showing there. Okay, an icon is showing there. So that is how to add a favorite icon to our website. The second thing we're going to learn here is how to add a picture to our website. So you can see the text, visual text, right? So I would like the logo of the website to show. Okay, I would like the logo to show. Okay, I want the logo, and then underneath the logo, the name. So that's the way I want it to be. So to make that happen, I will use something called, in my design, I will use something that is called the image tag, IMG. The image tag is one of the tags that is used to put a picture in a website. Okay, so I'm going to say image, and then I'll say that I will use, if I use only image like this, the image will not really, this is what you get, nothing. But I need to specify a picture. So to do that, there are two major attributes of the image we're going to use. The first one is the source of the image. The source of the image will refer to where the image is located. I'm just going to get, because I'm using this one, I'm just going to get this and bring it straight into my image like this. So this will specify the source of the image. Okay. But if I should use this image like this, there will be an issue. So let me show you the issue. When you refresh, you get a giant image because the image is actually very big. In order to make it look smallishly nice the way I want it, I will then specify two properties using attributes. I will say the width, width, and I'll say the width is equal to 125 pixels. This will give us a simple picture which is able to be located like this in our design. So this image will be responsible for our logo. I think I want it smaller than that. Let's do 100. Okay, so we do 100 and then we refresh. Okay, so that's better. Secondly, you will notice that the name is beside it. What I wanted was that the name should be underneath it. Okay, I want the name to be underneath it. And then I actually want the name to have two different colors. So to make this happen, I will use a different element to achieve this. The image is already catered for, so I will use the element called span, SPAN, to achieve my next fit. There are two ways to specify the color of an element. There are two ways to specify color for an element. Remember, we talked about text formatting tags. The first way I will show you is this one that is called the font tag. The font tag is also an inline tag, and it allows you to do something like this. Color is equal to something like this. But you must close the tag like this. Okay, got to close the tag like this. And remember, I put span here. Okay, so, or let me change it to fonts. Let's change it to fonts. Let me say color is equal to this. So what I want to do is I want to use two separate colors for my logo. Okay, so slash FONT. Okay. In order to give it a color, I usually use something like this to deal with my colors. It's called a color palette, and it gives me a wide range of colors to choose from. So for the purpose of the class, I'm looking at the logo. There's a brown, and there is a ash brown, there's a yellow color, and there's a darkish something there. So I will choose two colors that flex across the two. So I want to choose so that I can look fine. That's why. So let me just try and move around. Let me come to this side. Okay. So I think I see one of these guys, brownish purple something. This one. I think this will go. So I'll use this for the color of the first one. And then for the color of the second one, that's the first one. For the color of the second one, let me see. You see this top, this golden color? I'll use that one for the color of the second. We'll talk about HTML colors, a full class for HTML colors, where I will show you how to use HTML colors. So I'll come here. That's the golden side where we have gold. This is not gold, this is gold. And then I'll just scroll up to the gold something and copy the copy. I said copy the copy. I'll copy the color here. So I'm gonna come here and put it here. Paste. So let me save and let me show you what I have so far. So you have two colors here. Can you see? Okay, that looks nice. But two of them are still where I don't want them. So if I want them to go to the next line, I will use this tag and call this BR. Okay. So by using the BR, I want them to go to the next line like this. And so now they're on the next line. There's one more command that I'm going to use here. That command is the size command. It allows me to increase the size of what I'm dealing with. So I can now say size, and this size is usually from 1 to 7. Okay. So for here, the size is from 1 to 7. So you can have, if I put 3 here, for example, it's going to be 3 times the original size. Sorry, plus. Plus. A bit, it's an old, the font method is actually an old method of doing stuff. They don't normally use it again, but I'm just using it for your education, just to show you. So this is one way of specifying these values, okay? This is one way of doing it, and it's very okay for us at this point. So this is Visual Tech logo, and this is the design of our website. Okay, so we're going to stop here today, and in the next class, we're going to proceed from here to doing some specific things. We're going to learn how to deal with colors, how to deal with font size, how to align content, and then we'll merge everything together to building our first display board. So thank you very much for attending our class today. We're going to be seeing next. I will upload the presentation and the notes so that you will be able to engage yourself before the next class. I'll also send you what we have learned so far, favicons on how to use them, and also images. Okay, we also teach something on images, but we're not sure yet. Okay. So the question says, can I have more than one attribute tag? You can have unlimited attribute tag in a tag, unlimited number. In our next class, I will show you exactly what I mean. We're going to look at different ways of doing the same thing. And then we're going to decide on one way. Finally, after looking at the various ways, we will now choose one and continue with that. But at least you will have understanding of the different ways of doing stuff. So this is where we're going to stop today. Okay, we're going to stop today here. And then I look forward to our next class where we'll learn more and then be able to proceed on our journey to building an amazing technology website. So my name remains Amadeni Oluwaseun, and it was a pleasure having you guys here in this class. See you in our next class. God bless you, and do have a pleasant night rest. Check up on the Telegram group for the link for the files that we use in the class so you can practice with it on your own. All right. Thank you very much and goodbye.